Hi students, എങ്ങനെയുണ്ട് ഇന്നത്തെ ദിവസം? ഐ തിങ്ക് എല്ലാവരും സുഖമായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്നു, എല്ലാവരും വീട്ടിൽ തന്നെ ഇരിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. വാട്ട് അബൌട്ട് ദ പോർഷൻസ്? ഓൾ ദ സബ്ജക്റ്റിന് പോർഷൻസ് അപ് ടു ഡേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് പഠിക്കുക. എക്സാംസിലൊന്നും വെച്ച് ഉഴപ്പരുത്. ഓൾ ദി ബെസ്റ്റ്. നന്നായിട്ട് പഠിക്കുക. മനസ്സിലാത്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ ചോദിക്കാവുന്നതാണ് സംശയം. സോ നമ്മൾ ഇതുവരെ പഠിച്ചിരുന്ന പോർഷൻസ്, നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചു നിർത്തിയ പോർഷൻസ് ഹെൽത്ത് ഹസാർഡ്സ് ഓഫ് ജങ്ക് ഫുഡ്സ് ആണ്. ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ടോപ്പിക് ഇസ് മെത്തേഡ്സ് ഓഫ് എൻഹാൻസിങ് ന്യൂട്രിയൻ്റ് അവൈലബിലിറ്റി. Enhancement is the process of improving the nutrients of food by special methods. We are adopting certain methods to improve the nutrient quality of a food item at no additional cost. We are not sparing a time or a money to improve the nutrient availability, but we are adopting certain processes to improve the nutrient availability in foods. So for this reason alone, we can improve the nutritive value of our nutrient quality. It's not the nutritive value, the quality of nutrients present in a food. We can improve it by certain processes, and we are improving the nutritive value to meet the nutritional requirement of the body, to make proper selection and preparation of foods. For these things, we are enhancing the nutrient availability. The term enhancing nutrient availability means improving the nutrient quality of a food item at no additional cost. Then the methods adopted includes germination, fermentation, combination, and fortification. First is the germination. All of you know that what is germination. Germination is the same process as sprouting, and sprouting means the outgrowth in seeds. The development of sprouts from the cereals or pulses is known as pulses is known as the sprouting process. All the cereals and pulses or the seeds germinate, and the germination process is the sprouting. But in here we are germinating the pulses to improve the nutrient availability of the pulse. So this is the process of sprouting itself, but in this case, in the germination process we develop sprouts to improve the nutrient availability of the pulses. So in this process, a outgrowth or a sprout is formed. If we are sow it in the soil, it will grow into a new plant or new offspring. But we are not germinating the pulses to sprout or to create a new offspring, but we are germinating it to improve the nutritive value or the enhancing the nutrient availability of pulses. Then the process of germination, the first step in germination is the washing and cleaning of the pulses. The beans, it may be green gram, it may be cowpea or Bengal gram, any pulse, not dals are used. Most probably pulses are germinated to improve the nutritive value. So for this, whichever may be the pulse, wash and clean it thoroughly and remove the debris or the mud and the stones from that. Then clean it. Then it is soaked in a water, and it is soaked for overnight or 8 to 10 hours. It is soaked. The soaking is carried out to make it soft, and to make it the outer covering. When the pulses is soft, the outer cover is ruptured and softened, and they are ready to germinate. All the cells are become soft by absorbing the water, and it increases its size. After soaking, the pulses are drained and it is tied in a wet muslin cloth. It must be wet to improve the moisture availability of the seeds to germinate. Then these cloths are tied in that muslin cloth and kept on a tabletop where there is a humid condition, there is a cool condition. It is kept there for germination. Most probably it is kept in a strainer and tilted to 45-degree angle, that it is gets proper air and also excess moisture is drained out. For that it is inclined 45 degree to support the sprouting process. And after 2 or 3 hours, rinse them thoroughly to give him proper moisture. drain away excess water and tie again in a wet muslin cloth to give him adequate moisture. Excess and too less of moisture will reduce the sprouting process, or it will reduce the sprouts quantity, not the quantity. So reduces the sprouting or it increases the sprouting time. So we have to rinse it or give proper moisture. There is not necessary to always tie it out and rinse it and again tie it in a muslin cloth. You just sprinkle some water on it to keep the moisture or the cloth moisture, not excess water. Just moisten the cloth. That also helps in the sprouting process. And we kept it for 3 hours to 8 hours depending on the length of the sprout we need. If we need more sprouts, you have to keep it for more time. And then it is kept in a wet moist cloth under the required sprout is formed. And this is the germination process. Here we are seeing the green gram with a long sprout. It may take around 8 hours is taken, up to 8 or 10 hours, or overnight is the best option. We can keep it in overnight in a moist, cool, dark place, so that can be moist cannot be lost and it can be sprouted in the morning. Then germinated foods have the following advantages. The grains and pulses become enriched in vitamin C. That is the most important advantage of germination. Pulses are very poor in vitamin C, or they doesn't contain vitamin C content, and the sprouts are rich in vitamin C. And it is the main point to be remembered that the grains and pulses become enriched in vitamin C while sprouting. Proteins and carbohydrates are broken down into easily digestible forms. Most of the pulses are in dried forms. They are embedded in the cells while soaking and germinating. The outer cells are ruptured, and the proteins, carbohydrates, not only proteins and carbohydrates, most of the nutrients become easily available. The food becomes softer, chewable, and more digestible. Niacin, riboflavin, and folic acid content increases by 60 to 100%. All the B-complex vitamins are there in the outer shell, but it is easily available to the consumer. Then iron gets loosened from its bound form and becomes easily available. All the nutrients, as previously said, all the nutrients are become free to absorb, and the same as the iron also gets loosed from its bound form and become easily available. In the case of fenugreek, seeds lose their bitterness. Fenugreek ulva. അത് വെള്ളത്തിലിട്ട് അതിൻ്റെ ബിറ്റർനെസ് കമഴ്പ്പ് പോയി കിട്ടും. ദറ്റ് ഈസ് എ fenugreek seeds. It is an economical way of increasing the nutrient content of food. In spite of normal pulses, if we are using sprouted pulses, it naturally gives all the nutrients as we discussed earlier. Vitamin C, niacin, riboflavin, folic acid, and proteins and vitamins become easily available. All these nutrient availability can be increased, and it is an economical way and easy way. In the above all the nutrient availability, it also reduces the cooking time, and it can be directly, especially in the case of sprouted green jams, we can use this directly in salads and chaats. Next process is the fermentation process. Fermentation process is the age-old method to get alcohol beverages as well as some variety of foods. It is started in the Neolithic age, but the present method is found by the French microbiologist Louis Pasteur. Then the fermentation process in general is in the fermentation process, sugar plus microbes, especially the yeast, convert sugar into alcohol, and the carbon dioxide is the byproducts. There are 3 different types of fermentation. In all these is that same process occurs, but the microorganism change. First is the lactic acid fermentation. In this, lactobacillus is the microbes working. In this, we use the strains, and sometimes we are using the yeast strains or sometimes the bacteria strains. In the case of curd, we are using the starter as a curd. We already have a curd, and it is used as the starter to create the curd. And the curd is a lactobacillus culture, and that is inoculated in the milk, and the curd is formed. So this is the lactic acid fermentation occur. Then the ethanol fermentation or the alcohol fermentation, this is occurring in the distillation process, making of all type of alcoholic beverages as well as the wine. In this, the ethanol fermentation or alcohol fermentation occurs. In this also, yeast is used. By using the yeast, the starch and sugars is converted to alcohol and carbon dioxide is formed. In the acetic acid fermentation, it is the basic method used to preparation of the vinegar. In this, starches and sugars from the grains is used, and sometimes the fruits are also used, and from the fruits and grains are fermented using the strains of yeast to form the vinegar. And the example is the apple cider vinegar and all other types of vinegars. In this process, in fermentation process, food brings desirable physical and chemical changes by the addition of microorganisms in this. And the common characteristic is the production of carbon dioxide. And the production of carbon dioxide increases its size and makes it porous, and it makes it soft, porous and spongy. And there is a particular taste for all the fermented foods. Fermented foods have the following advantages. The food becomes porous, light and easily digestible. Vitamin C content increases. Thiamine, riboflavin and niacin content also doubles. Iron gets released from its bound form and it is easily available. Texture and flavor of foods are enhanced. These are the advantages of fermented foods. Then next is the process of combination. In this process, we are combining commonly available foodstuffs from the different food groups, and for that you can follow the food groups and the food pyramid. We are combining foods from the different food groups to get all the nutrients in a one foodstuff. So it is the combination process. When the different foodstuffs are combined together, we will get most of the nutrients in adequate amount and correct proportion from the one food. The most common example of combination is the cereal pulse combination. We have already studied that the cereals are deficient in certain essential amino acids. Both cereals and pulses are partially complete proteins and they are lacking in some of the essential amino acids. For example, cereals are deficient in lysine, whereas lysine is more in pulses, and the vice versa. Methionine is poor in pulses, but they are rich in rice and the cereals. So when we are combining cereals and pulses, we will get a complete protein food or the food with a high biological value. So the most common and followed food combination method is the cereal plus combination. This you have already studied. And the other combination is the cereal milk combination. When cereal is deficient in certain essential amino acids, milk is a complete protein food. When we are combining cereal and with the milk or any other animal foods, it also gives a high biological value protein. And by using this combination, we will get a good biological value protein. And the other combination method is the combination of cereals with vegetables, and the pulses with vegetables are also the combination to provide all the vitamins, minerals from the one food. Then the advantages of combination: cereal plus vegetables supply very good amount of proteins, minerals and carbohydrates. The example is sambar is a good example for that, and in that there are pulses and vegetables. By combining pulses and vegetables, we will get proteins. Proteins from pulses can also be used for energy purposes. So pulses is both energy and protein. Then the fruits, vegetables containing it then gives all the vitamins and minerals. So it is a good example for a good combination of pulses and vegetables. Then cereals and pulse combination, we already discussed it. Then the cereal milk combination we will also discuss. Cereal vegetable combinations enhance vitamin A, calcium and iron content. And then all these combinations give or help to provide a balanced diet for all the family members, and from the combining of different foods we can create more variety. The last and not the least, the fortification method. Fortification is not an household method, it is an industrial method, and there may be a question that what are the methods that you can adopt in your home to improve the nutritive value. Then in that question, fortification is an exception. Fortification cannot be explained in that question. The other three methods, that is the fermentation, combination and germination, is the methods that can be adopted in our household. Fortification is a method that is commonly adopted in the industry. And fortification is defined as the addition of one or more essential nutrients into food. It normally improve the food quality and the purpose of preventing or correcting the deficiency diseases in the public health viewpoint. It can be carried out by food manufacturers or by governments as a public health policy which aims to reduce the number of people with dietary deficiencies within a population, and it also be adopted to remove the common deficiencies in the public health perspective. Then adding microorganisms to common staple foods can significantly improve the nutritional quality of the food supply and improve public health with minimal risk. The food fortification is a scientifically proven, cost-effective, scalable and sustainable global intervention that addresses the issue of micronutrient deficiencies. Then it also a common method to improve the low-income population from the deficiency diseases. Then fortified food has the following advantages. Fortified food items are likely to contain micronutrients. It maintains body stores of nutrients more effectively and efficiently. It improves the nutritional status of large proportion of the general population. Food fortification is more cost effective than any other methods. The examples are iodized salt and iron fortified atta. Then let us concluding the second chapter. Food is first we studied the sources of food and definition of food. Then next is the food classification of food based on the functions, that is energy yielding, bodybuilding, protective and regulatory foods. Then based on the keeping quality, foods are classified into perishable and non-perishable foods. Based on the food groups, it is classified into 5 food group plan and food pyramid. Then we are moved to the different aspects of cooking, such as objectives, principles and methods of cooking. Then lastly, in this session you have studied about the enhancement of nutrients such as germination, combination, fermentation and fortification. By this, the second chapter is concluded. Thank you.